Today I am welcoming Vicki Head here, brand photographer extraordinaire, and all-round award-winning brand photographer. It's amazing to have you here, Vicki. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, oh, it's so nice to be here, Anna. So yeah, I'm primarily a brand and event photographer, and I'm an image strategist as well. So part of what I do is not only about creating the photographs that people can use, on the socials, on the website, on the marketing materials, but it's helping them understand how to get the best from them, how to use them, and how to create things that really align with what they're doing in their business, who they are as a person, all of that.
Yeah, so you've done some quite big events and big brand photography shoots in the past. We've known each other quite a while now, haven't we?
We have, yeah, it seems a long time ago since we were breakfasting together,
Yeah,
networking. Yeah.
yeah. So can you tell people about the sorts of things that you do shoot with
Yeah,
your
sure.
camera?
So with events can really vary. Sometimes they can be really small, little intimate events. Maybe somebody's written or co-authored a book and they're kind of doing a little launch. Maybe they're having a retreat or doing a workshop. So it can vary from things that are quite small and quite intimate to really big events with hundreds of people there and lots of and sort of celebrities on stage. That can really vary in events, all of the things in between. But the what you're doing with that is the same. You're creating visual assets, you're documenting what's happening, you're creating visual assets that people can use to show what was going on, what the energy was like, how that person maybe made the delegates feel that they were there, what kind of how did people leave the day, as well as creating marketing assets that people can use to promote the next time they have an event. So the next time they've got an event coming up, they can share pictures from the last one so people can see how great it was and it encourages them to buy tickets. Um, with brand photography, there's a lot of similar things that go on, but it's kind of very much more bespoke and personal. So this is about me really understanding who each of my clients are, who you are as a person, what you care about, what you're passionate about, why are you doing what you're doing? Why does it matter? And with that, who you're talking to. So, who would be the kind of people in your audience or your client base that you really want to land your messages with and what you're trying to say to them? And with that, then we can create images that you can use in the ways that you want to, whether that's on your social media. For most people, that's, showing up on social media regularly, but also websites or if you're printing something like roller banners or leaflets and things like that, it's things that you've got that are really going to align who you are with the message that you're trying to give other people. And that kind of comes into the image strategy as well when I work with people to look at what they're sharing and think, okay, is what message is this giving out? We get an impression, in a split second, the phrase first impressions count, and they absolutely do. And when you're trying to stop people scrolling on their phones and actually look at your content and then invest the time to read what you're saying or watch the videos or the lives that you're doing, you've got to kind of capture their attention in the first place. Otherwise, they're just going to scroll on by and you're just going to be another photo in amongst it. So there's definitely ways that you can do that, often quite simple, that will really help you get engagement with people and help them understand who you are, trust who you are, like who you are effectively, which then goes on to make them want to engage with you and maybe buy from you or be in your world, be in your groups, and so on.
Yeah, and this isn't just about the products, for photographing the products and the services that you do at all when it comes to brand photography. Because that's what I used to think. Brand photography was when you did the product with the white backdrop or the
Yeah,
pretty flower
yeah.
next to it. That's not what it is at all, is it?
No, it's not. When you're looking at things like brand photography, yes, it's you might have photographs in amongst that show a product. If you're selling a product, you want to have pictures that look clean, that can go on a cart or go on a sales page where people can see, oh, this is what it's going to look like. This is what I'm looking for. And pop it in the cart. But actually, with brand photography, it's not about just what something looks like, it's about how it makes you feel. So actually, when you're selling and you're selling products or you're selling yourself with your personal brand, it isn't just a case of you're not documenting this is what the packaging looks like. Well, that's pretty dry. That's not going to really get me in the feels. But actually, how is it going to make me feel? When we think about that product, for instance, what will that do for me? Will that make my skin look beautiful? Will that make me feel youthful? Will it make me just feel pampered and wonderful, like I've taken time for myself? How does that make me feel? Because that's the bit that people buy into. People buy into the how you're going to make them feel at the end of the day. So creating images that people where they feel safe, where they feel engaged, where it feels like it resonates with them and often kind of looks like them. I don't mean literally look like them, but you're kind of my sort of person.
Yeah, they
You
relate to the photo.
absolutely, when you it resonates and you feel like, oh, okay, that's what that person's using, and either they're like me or I want to be like them.
Yes.
Ultimately, they're the two things that people will be attracted to.
Yeah. And this is super important when it comes to the network marketing industry, when people are selling a product that's exactly the same as everybody else,
100%.
and there's so many other people selling products that are similar online, even if they're not the same brand. How on earth does somebody stand out from anybody else there? And it's the
Okay.
brand photography and
It
the
is, yeah, and the how you make it people feel. So I often use an analogy with people when I'm talking about, say, product photography like that. And if imagine you made little pink cakes and that's what you sold, and you sold little pink birthday cakes for people like children's birthday parties. And there were four people on your street who also made pink cakes. And when people are looking online, they're going to look and they think, well, okay, these pink cakes all look the same. I can't taste them online, so I don't really know if there's any difference in taste. So they might probably then just think, well, what's the cheapest? Because if it's a pink cake, it's a pink cake, really.
yeah,
Like, what difference does it make? So if the only photographs that all of you have got is a picture of a pink cake and a picture of a pink cake and a picture of a pink cake, it makes people it really hard for people to decide. But if you had a photograph and it wasn't really about the pink cake, but actually the photograph was of a child's face lit up with joy with a pink cake coming towards them, that would be the thing that makes people buy. Because actually, what they want is their child to have that joy. They want to create that feeling. So that's where you then start to differentiate yourself from every other little pink cake that's going on kind of down the road. It's about getting people in the fields.
yeah, totally and utterly. And I think a lot of the time on social media, many business owners in this industry and other industries hide behind stock images
Yeah,
or buy this thing, buy this thing, buy this thing,
yeah,
and they're not showing any of those feelings like why? What's it
no,
going to do for you? How is it going to help you? And the photograph or the video or anything on that post is it has to relate and stand out to that person.
yeah, absolutely. So, like, often if people are working for kind of bigger selling products under bigger umbrella of bigger organizations, there's going to be a lot of kind of the corporate brand imagery that goes about, which is great because you've got a resource, and that's
Yes.
like the clean product image, isn't it? That's like the one where it's lit nicely, it's really good resolution, it's not pixelated or blurry, it's probably in a nice setting. So that's great as a sort of staple and to keep that a little bit of continuity in how those products look. But if I was in a place where there was sort of three people saying the same thing, and I want to know who am I going to kind of put my loyalties with, who am I going to go to time and time again, that's all about connection. Like
Yeah.
I know the product's good already, that's why I want to buy it. So that you kind of that's less important to me. The bit that makes me feel connected to the person that's selling is totally going to be the thing that makes the difference to where I go.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree. But for a lot of people, that is incredibly difficult to do. for
Yeah.
many, many reasons.
Yeah, there are so many reasons. Like my job, sometimes I feel like I should have been a dentist or something because everybody, like I see them and say, I hate being photographed, I get it. We all feel vulnerable in front of a camera. Like, when we're faced with either whether it's doing selfies, doing lives, or being photographed by a photographer, it makes you feel a bit vulnerable because you're scared of being judged. You're
Yeah,
scared, what people might think. You're scared if you make a mistake or don't do something perfectly. I mean, when I talk, I say a lot, and if I listen back, I think, oh my God, I'm saying all the time. But if I'd never speak
yeah,
on anything, if I thought, well, I can't do that, it's just imperfect action is important, and it's not only just important to not worry about that, but it's human.
yeah,
Part of the reason that we connect with people is because we see them as being really human, really relatable. And if it's too polished, if it's too perfect, if it's too filtered, then you lose a lot of the kind of authenticity and the humanity in it.
yeah. And in this industry, and this is something I bang on about all the time, you have to be relatable. So relatable that somebody else that's looking at you can think, gosh, I can do what they're doing. I'm going to
Yeah,
join because they make it look so simple
yeah,
or they make it look so much fun and they're so normal
yeah,
and they're just like me. And as
yeah.
soon as you come out of that bracket of normal and relatable and you make it look polished and perfect, everybody says, well, I can't do what they're doing.
Absolutely. It like raises the bar so high.
Yeah,
So I think relatability is so important because we're attracted to things that look like us. It's like there's a big thing, isn't there, about how you're attracted to partners and you see couples who they look like they're kind of made to be together. But we are attracted to things that because it looks familiar, it feels safe when it feels a bit familiar. But we're also attracted to a bit of what we aspire to. So
yeah,
you want to be inspired by people and you want to have, something that's going to make people, like you say, feel like, well, they did it, so actually I could too.
yeah,
But also that's what they're doing is what I want. I want some of that. I want some of that, income or lifestyle or, I want, that in my life. So it is being that sort of human, relatable, and recognizable, so that
yes.
what people see online, if they then meet you, they're not suddenly thinking, well, where is she? Because they're not actually recognizing you.
And I'm laughing because we were talking about this before we came on the podcast about filters that make you look 40 years younger and
Yeah,
um, pictures from when you had pink hair or
yeah,
were 6 stone heavier or
yeah.
whatever it might be that just doesn't make you look like you anymore.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I think the reason it's important to be, current and relevant, and it's part of the reason that I'm actually bringing in a program next year that is about having regular little mini shoots, bite-sized shoots that keep you current, is because it what we want to do is give people a green light all the time. We want to give them the green light that they can that they're getting to know us, they understand who we are as a person, that they can trust us, that they like us, that we resonate and we're relatable to them. And if you start to have things in that don't align with what they are previously understood, that's the thing that in the back of our mind makes us think, oh, okay, I didn't think they quite look like that, or I didn't think that this. And it creates a little thing of uncertainty. So
Yeah,
you're way better to show up as you are, however imperfect you think you are, because that's the thing that people, if as they're going to meet you, they're going to recognize you. That's going to give a green light because it's like, oh yeah, actually, I know exactly who they were. It cements that feeling that you can trust them because
yeah,
they're showing up in a really authentic way. And I think the other danger with when people we can all become a bit desensitized to filters. It's
yeah,
really easy, isn't it, on social media to bob a filter on, think, oh yeah, suddenly I look way better, and then get so used to using those filters that we almost feel like we haven't put our face on if we haven't got it on. It's
yeah,
we almost stop knowing how to sort of just show up as ourselves. But it's also what's appropriate. I've seen filters used really inappropriately by people who are giving one message, but their filter is kind of, got some crazy butterflies going on or something. And you're kind of thinking, hang on, what you like, what's that about? It doesn't align with what you're saying. Again, it's creating a sort of mistrust, which is exactly
Mm.
what you don't want to do.
Yeah, yeah. And so important in any skincare and wellness industry. If you're selling
100%.
skincare and you've got a filter on, what is that saying to
Yeah,
everybody out there? If you're selling
100%.
wellness things and you're trying to make yourself look
Yeah,
completely different from how you are in whatever way, shape, or form that is,
yeah.
again, there's
A
something not quite
disconnect. Yeah.
right.
And
Yeah.
it's to do with if you're saying trust me, you don't want anything that's going to make you look a bit fake.
No.
You want to be really kind of this is me, this is authentically me. And so if you are saying, oh wow, I'm using this skin cream and this is what it's doing to my skin, if people are used to seeing you filtered up to the max, they're going to be like, well, but is it though? Is it really your skin or is it just what filter you've got on?
Yeah, yeah. And in our industry, in network marketing in particular, there's this whole distrust from people showing themselves with the beautiful backdrops, sat with the palm trees, laptop
Yeah,
lifestyle,
yeah,
all that stuff. And and then there's a total disconnect when they meet them in person when they are
yeah,
like totally normal. So some people aspire to have this laptop lifestyle in the industry, which is great. But when you meet those people in person and they're not like that portrayed image
yeah,
of perfect and, perfect
yeah.
bodies, tanned, whatever else, and they're just normal, somehow the trust has gone again. Even though
Yes.
they might have this amazing lifestyle, but the way they're marketing it and branding it isn't the same as
Yeah,
them in
the
real life.
reality. Yeah. And it also, I don't have a laptop lifestyle. I'm not sat on a beach all the time. So I would just feel like, well, they're not like me. They might not understand the problems that
Yeah,
I've got in my business. They might not understand, the challenges I have juggling life and, family and all the other things because they're just, swanning about in a fancy car or, sitting on a beach. So
yeah,
it takes away that relatability.
yeah. And also, a lot of people will be looking at that going, well, I can't have that. That's not for me.
Oh,
There's no
yeah,
way I could do that. There's no way
yeah,
I can achieve
yeah,
that. There's no
yeah,
way that would work for my life.
yeah,
Yeah, it's there's a fine balance, isn't there, I suppose, between aspirational photography and marketing and realistic.
There is. I mean, there's a we all, of course. I'm not saying when I say realistic, I don't necessarily mean it has to be. The problem is we get up in the morning and we stumble into the bathroom and look in the mirror, and speaking for myself, I often feel a bit horrified.
Yeah,
Definitely
yeah,
big bed hair going on, bleary eyed, probably got a few creases in my face where I've been sleeping on my side. Um, and then I'll look at my phone and I'm comparing what I look like in the mirror, bleary-eyed, with somebody's 75th selfie they took, which was perfect, and then they bobbed on a nice filter so it looked even better.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
comparing our first thing in the morning to somebody else's, best
yeah.
life. So first of all, we're not, it's not a level playing field in that sense. We don't compare yourself to what you're seeing on social media.
Absolutely not.
But there are many things that you can do, and that I share videos and things like this on my socials quite often about how you can just get the best from really simple things that you're doing. So that if you were taking a selfie or doing a live, there are things that you can do for free or for barely, 20 quid, a little LED light off Amazon for 20 quid or something. Very, very little money and very little outlay, but it's often to do with the positioning of where you are in relation to your camera, of where you are in relation to light. So, for instance, something as simple as turning to face a window will on in the day will put light on your face, as opposed to sitting with your back to the window will make you a silhouette. So you're in darkness and you can't really see your face. Now, there's subconscious messages, and I'm not going to go into all the sciencey bit about, and this is where the bit that I think is really exciting, but everybody else probably thinks is a bit what. Um, there's reasons why that creates a different impression in the eyes of the people that are seeing us. When you're lit well and you can actually see your features, again, it creates trust. It creates people because we feel like, oh, okay, we can really see them. If you're kind of in the shadows and it's all very dark and your face is all very dark, it actually looks kind of a bit shadier, it doesn't create the same levels of trust. So the simple things that you can do, even the how high or low you hold your camera. And people can go a bit crazy thinking if they're doing a selfie, they've got to hold it right up here. Actually, that's not ideal because what it gives you is a giant forehead and a long nose and you're trying to get rid of double chins. However, if you're holding your camera really low underneath, well, it is going to make all this area look bigger. So, irrespective of using any filters or anything else, there's lots of really simple things you can do that even if I'm not wearing any makeup at the minute. I do wear makeup a bit. I probably should wear it a bit more than I do. But if I'm honest, I'm a bit lazy, and I'm okay about showing up, without any makeup on. But there's definitely things, but I have made sure that I've got some light over there that's going to light my face. Because if I turn that off, suddenly I go into, I'll show you if you like.
Oh yeah. So if you're watching on the YouTube, you can see.
So suddenly it gets a bit darker on my face.
Yeah.
Can you see the difference?
We've
How
got
even
shadows, more shadows now.
I've got more shadows, it's harder to see my eyes, it's harder. I've got another light on here, and it's just having lamps, and you can just start to create. If I turn that off, I
Yeah,
go
half
dark
your face
again.
is in darkness now.
Yeah. So if I turn that one, it gives me a little bit of light that lights this. I've got the window there that's lighting me. I've got a little bit of light coming in from the side. And if I turn this one on up here, it lights my face.
Yeah.
And it's that light is one that actually isn't facing me, because if I face it to me, I'm going to get big lights. And if
Oh, in your
anybody
glasses.
uses like ring lights, and you get the lights reflecting on your glasses, so that light is actually turned away from me, but it bounces the light and it bounces it back onto me to light my face.
And it's just testing, isn't it? Just
Just
moving
testing.
moving your camera or your laptop
Yeah.
around or putting
Find the
lights,
position.
seeing,
Yeah.
yeah, seeing where you can.
Have a play, have a go, but kind of thinking about people being able to see you, people, what's going on in the space that you're at. Like, for
Yeah,
instance, if you're doing wellness, for instance, and that's what you're selling, kind of like one of the things I would used to say about, for instance, as a really a crude, example, really, if I was photographing a personal trainer and I photographed them running in the park, drinking a kind of green smoothie or a bottle of water, what they're doing and where they are would align with what I would want to say about their fitness levels. If I photographed the same personal trainer stood outside McDonald's drinking a beer, it's going to give a different message,
a very different
The
message.
personal trainer is the same person. Their qualification, their expertise is exactly the same. But what's created is a perception about them in the
Yeah,
image and about who they are as a person, or about where you trust, well, actually, how healthy are they? Because they're stood there with a beer. And that's not to say don't drink beer or don't eat McDonald's, live your life. We're all people and we do, things we should and things we shouldn't. But it's in your images, you're creating a message, you're telling a story. It's not just a photograph of your face.
yeah,
So it's about trying to make all the stories that you're telling in your pictures link in to what your message really is. Why are you passionate? Why do you care? Why do you
yeah.
want to do this?
And I've seen so many people get this wrong, especially on social media when you've got a profile which has got your friends on and maybe they're tagging you in nights out or you want to make a statement about some political thing on your and I know it's not branding images quite the same, but you get involved in some debate that gives other people an opinion of you. I don't think there's a problem with that, but when it's being shown to your customers who you're trying to create an image with, it can really affect how they see you.
It can affect it and it can confuse people a bit
Yeah,
as well. It
very
can
much.
confuse people. If you were really, like if you were saying, okay, I've overindulged at Christmas and I'm going on the detox plan that we do. I'm just about to start
Yeah,
this. Come on the journey with me. It's not to say that we're never going to eat too much or drink too much or go out and party or all of those things. It's about doing it. But if you will permanently, what people are seeing is you out on the razzle, and then, meanwhile, Monday to Friday, you're saying, "Hey, I'm really clean living, and I'm really this." They're kind of not
yeah,
going to believe that. They're just going to think, "Well, you're not really, are you?"
yeah, yeah. And I think we sometimes forget that people will watch the business stuff, but they'll also watch the other things as well because when they start to get to know you, they want to know more about you. They
Yeah,
want to see what you're doing in the background. So they'll
yeah,
watch those stories of you karaokeing and whatever, whether you want to see them or not.
yeah. We're all really nosy, aren't we, by
Yeah.
nature? We're just curious people that want to find out more, for sure.
Yes, which is why it's so important that your brand aligns with who you are as a person.
Yeah, and that means it doesn't mean making, and the thing is, I think sometimes people think a brand is something, it's like just something that's created.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just a thing. Like somebody's going to design a brand for me, like they might design a logo for me. But actually, in personal branding is about you.
mm,
Essentially, it's about who you are as a person, what your values are,
yeah,
what your passions are, what makes you different from everybody else. So it's a very personal thing. And so it's not about you trying to fit into a brand that's been created. Your brand is about showing you, yeah, maybe in like the best way of you, like like not the just got out of bed first thing in the morning you, but essentially it's you. It's your personality, it's your quirks, it's your
yeah,
superpowers. It's
yeah,
all the bits why you're great and people should want to get to know you more.
yeah. And that comes with a whole other pile of problems when we don't know who we are ourselves. And we were talking about this a couple of podcast episodes ago with Jojo Smith, who's the branding expert. Um, and if you don't know who you are and what you stand for, and you can't get that across in photos and reels and videos and in the stuff you're putting out there to your audience, that becomes a problem as well, I suppose.
I think so. And I think, well, and also we change. I know as
Yeah,
I've got older and perimenopause and suddenly understanding I'm neurodivergent, which I didn't realize before, all of these bits that we find out more about ourselves and we evolve, we grow, we develop, we learn more stuff. So identity can be like quite fluid in a way. I think that it's about core values, isn't it?
yeah,
Understanding your kind of core values, which tend to sort of pretty much stay quite consistent. And then having that understanding of your core values, but then having visually showing who you are kind of in real time, and who you are. So it's relevant. It's not just that the last photograph I had that was taken of me was I was at a wedding and my makeup was on point. So I'm going to just cut out my other half and forget about the fact I'm wearing a hat. That'll do as my profile picture. It's not really, unless you wear hats a lot, it's not really ideal, is it?
yeah,
Especially if you're trying to build a business and position yourself. Because partly, I think with photography, it's one of those things that people, partly because they don't like having the photograph taken, and everybody feels whatever shape, size, whatever you are, everybody can feel a bit uncomfortable in front of a camera.
yeah,
That's, across the board. So partly we avoid it for that reason. And partly sometimes people can see it as being a bit indulgent. It's a
yeah,
bit like, why do I want to do that? And partly it's seen as like a luxury investment. Like I shouldn't, I
yeah,
can't, it's not in my budget, or it's not a priority, or it's not this. When imagery still is like the most powerful way to
Mm.
communicate because you haven't actually, I mean, and actually it's shown with video. Obviously, video is hugely powerful, but with video, for instance, on YouTube, the bit that was most powerful about that was the thumbnails. So it was still the still image
Yes.
that actually created that. With photographs, with images like that, you haven't got to speak the same language as somebody. You haven't got to, they haven't got to take any time because they're going to make a judgment about it in a split second. So it's not like they've got to spend time reading your copy or watching a video. They're going to make a judgment about it. So it's powerful. You can capture attention really, really quickly. But it can work for you or work against you. And so when you just it where people take it seriously, they can make it have big impact on the engagement they get with people, on how people clients come to them. Um, when you just throw up a hodgepodge of stuff, and maybe it's a mixture of some brand photography, some selfies, some bits, terrible photos that, somebody else took on the phone and it's really blurry and whatever, it can look a bit of a jumble sale and it can also be a bit confusing in terms of quite what message. And I'm not saying everybody should have just only have brand images. Like we all take, I take loads of pictures on my phone and use that. And that's the way that's easiest, isn't it, for social media, for
Yeah.
sure. But it's about having a consistent message
Yeah.
throughout all of that and understanding that. And that's where I bring in image strategy because I think lots of people know they need photos, but really don't know quite what they need for the best
Yeah.
effect or how to use them. Like, okay, I've got my photos, I don't know what to do with them now, which is
Yeah.
where I bring in some image strategy for people.
Yeah. So there was a word you used, judgment. And I think this is where a lot of people come unstuck. And I did back in the day. I used to hate having my photo taken. As well, I still do. Because the fear of judgment
Yeah,
mainly, but also a lot of people, and I was the same. Why would anybody want to see a picture of me? How big-headed am I to
yeah,
put a selfie up?
yeah,
How on earth do you help people get round that?
yes. Because I think like literally, I'm just been this morning creating a post about about this, about that it can feel really ick to
Mhm.
put ourselves out there. And my work often is about showcasing other people. It's not about me, it's about you. Or I'm at an event and I'm dressed in black and I'm in the shadows and I'm like
Yeah,
this stealthy ninja, slightly fat ninja, but stealthy nonetheless, wandering around getting, photographs of other people. It's not about me, it's about what's going on, whether it's the people in the audience or the people who are speaking on stage or whatever. And it can feel like you're going to be a bit braggy or, saying stuff about me. But the reality is, how will people know? Social media is such a busy place.
yeah,
We're oversaturated with images. And I think one of the things that I've realized over the years is you can be brilliant at what you do. You can be like the best person, the go-to person. You can help so many people, but you absolutely can't help them if they don't know about you, if
yeah,
they haven't seen you, if they don't recognize you. Because and they're not going to know to just telepathically to seek you out. They'll just
no,
go for the thing that's in front of them. And if that thing or that person that's in front of them isn't as good as you, and they're not going to help them in the same way, then you're doing them a bit of a disservice, really, to not actually
yeah,
say, do you know what? I'm here and I can help you and I can do this for you. I think it's about removing some of the connection. And sometimes for people, it's almost if you think about you're doing this for your business rather than it's
yeah,
not, I'm not being self-indulgent for me. Like if you imagine if you were advising, the other you on what to do for your business, what would you say? What would you do? Um, Partly because I find I work with a lot of people who do feel really uncomfortable, really vulnerable, um, for me, a massive part of my work is making people feel safe, making them feel, and actually, I've been sharing some posts in my Advent celebrations, and some of them have got testimonials. And I was saying yesterday or the day before, because one of those testimonials was talking about how for people that were felt quite introverted and they didn't normally like being in front of a camera, I'd made them feel really safe. I'd made them feel able to be themselves. It's a massively important thing. So if you're working with a photographer, that should be a really key thing about the photographer understanding what you need and who you are and what the kind of brief is in that sense, but also making you feel really comfortable. Shoots with people we've photographed together. It wasn't too
Yes.
painful, was it?
No, it wasn't painful at all. But do you know what? I was terrified because I was that person who was, why is this important? I know I've got to do it, but I really don't want to. So why is
Yeah,
it important? Like, let's just forget it. Let's just go and hide in the corner because that's where it's safe. If nobody can see me standing out, I'm
yeah,
safe. And that was the big thing for me. But I did what you said just then and thought, no, what would I tell myself? What would I tell one of my clients?
yeah,
I have to show up as the person. I have to be visible. I have to put myself out there. And I
yeah,
have to do it as authentically me as possible,
yeah.
probably with no makeup or very little of it on, with the
It doesn't
same
matter if it's
hairstyle.
lots, if that's who you are,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. But it's about
no.
it being authentic to you, not just like fake for a picture.
No, and that's why it's so important to when you do have shoots with a brand photographer or you're taking photos for banks of social media content with a friend or doing the
Yeah,
selfies or whatever, that you are looking as you would look if they met you in person. Like you're
yeah,
behaving as you would if they met you in person
yeah,
and
yeah,
and showing up so that people can really make that firm connection with you.
yeah. And the
Yeah.
other thing, when you were talking about simple things that people can do, and something I would say, um, people often think if they're having their photograph taken, they've got to do a big cheesy smile. And you don't. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, some
Like
people are
Gromit.
smiley people, but it doesn't have to be like that all the time. But what I would say is if you're doing lives and speaking to your audience, smile while you're talking.
Yeah.
Because if you smile while you're talking, people kind of inside they smile back. They kind of see that, they feel engaged. So if you're doing that, if we're talking really seriously and we're talking like this all the time, it kind of doesn't make people feel as comfortable. So it's a bit the same as when they say, well, if you're answering the phone, smile when you speak when you answer the phone because the people can hear the warmth in your voice when they're talking to you. It's kind of the same. When you talk to people and you smile, they smile back.
Yeah.
And when they're smiling back, that's making them feel good. And
Yeah.
that's when we're starting to make those connections.
So when we had our photo shoot, it was a couple of years ago now, more
Yeah,
than a
yeah,
couple of years ago
yeah.
now, which reminds me I do need another one, but that's a job for next year. You taught me something when I was having the photos taken about thinking about something. I can't quite
Yeah,
remember what it was, but you
yeah,
told me to think about something so the
yeah.
right expression came on the face to show the
Yeah,
passion.
100%. So, because there's a few things that people do when they have the photograph taken, okay? So, people do usually one of several things. They smile and do this, and then they see
You're
the
going to have to
photograph.
explain because we're on a podcast. So what are you
Oh,
doing?
okay, they smile and pull their chin back, and actually, what it does is it just creates a double chin, and then they say, "Oh, I've got a double chin," but it's actually just because how they're pulling the chin back. So there's things that you can do about how you're positioning your face, but that what you're referring to is where I said, um, think about something that makes you happy, genuinely happy, because that will make your eyes twinkle. And when your eyes twinkle, you look happy and relaxed and confident. And that makes the people looking at you feel happy, relaxed, and confident. So, any photographs you put out there, whether it's selfies or brand imagery, um, the people who are looking at it, you will look like you're looking at them. So if you look at them like a rabbit in the headlights with your eyes all scared and wide and looking like you're hating the experience, that's the visual message that you're giving the people who are looking at you, you know, that. So if you look at them like they're your new best, if you think you're looking at your new best friend, if you imagine the thing that makes you feel happiest, if you think about how would I be looking, forget the camera, think about you looking at a person and you're looking at somebody you're really interested in. You really want to get your fangirling over a bit, maybe. You want to get to know more. What would you be looking like? Because bringing some of that kind of expression into, into your face while you're on in pictures will automatically make you look more engaging.
Yeah, love that. Thank you so much, Vicky. This has been so helpful. Is there anything you would like to add before we disappear off?
So, yeah, it's been really lovely coming on here and just lovely to catch up with you because I don't see you often enough for sure. Um, I think it's hard sometimes to feel about being visible. I think we all can want to hide. There's times where we question ourselves, we're unsure about ourselves, and the last thing we want to do is show up. So that's one reason why if you create a bank of images, you've got stuff to be putting out, even on the days that you feel like pulling the quilt up over your head. You've actually got something that you can put out that's going to align with, your message on the better days. Um, be brave, even if it's easy to put it off and put it off and never do it, but be brave. Actually, I think you'll find being photographed not only isn't as painful as you think it might be, actually, you can have quite a lot of fun in the
Yeah.
process. And it gets you some results. Um, and yeah, I've got a membership starting next year. So for
Yes.
anybody that is thinking, okay, I want some bite-size little shoots that's going to keep me getting some current images that I can put out that's going to align with my message. Um, I do onboarding calls with everybody, so I've got an understanding of who they are and what they're looking to achieve. There'll be shoots, 4 shoots spread out through the year. Um, but there'll also be a load of support and guidance on how to get the best from your images, how to use them in a way that's going to work for you. So my new product, Fresh Frames, is kind of out. There's a few offers that are on and until the end of the year. But it starts next year. So the bonuses are available till the end of this year. And yeah, I'd love to get some people on and see if I can help them just feel more confident about showing up.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the show notes underneath here.
Perfect,
And
thanks.
also, where can people find you on socials?
Vicki Head Photography at Vicki Head Photo. Usually will find me. I'm kind of on all the main ones, sort of Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and so on, or my website. So yeah, I'm always up for a cuppa and a chat. So if anybody's got any questions or anything they want to come back, then yeah, get in touch.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. It's been great to have you on.
It's been lovely. Thank you.